today we discuss about in digital image processing we discuss about digital image compression and applications in digital image processing. So first we have to discuss the digital compression techniques. So nothing but what is the need of image compression? So nothing but here the data is transferred through the bandwidth of the channel. So for that we have to represent the data which will be transferred to the channel. So nothing but here the amount of data can be represented in a same data of amount under the information. So if the information either it is the audio or video or any other data network will be transmitted to the channel. So whatever it is the data will be containing the irrelevant or repeated data will be transmitted through the channel. So we have to eliminate the data which have to reduce the extra irrelevant data or extra content will be the data will be reduced. So that data will be is called as a redundancy. So redundancy is nothing but the stream of data which it have the repetitive contents are irrelevant to the data transmission. So for an example, so this is the diagram we have to represent the data. So in this data the information will be transmitted. So this whole block is considered as a original information. Data will be transmitted to the channel, but the information here we have to represent it in a dot box, square box. So it is called as a visual, meaning nothing but the information is nothing but approximately to the 30 to 45% only. So other things are called as a redundancy information, redundancy data in the information. So what is the need of compression is the compression is the active process of redundancy, reducing the amount of data which is required to representing a given quantity of information, and also to identify and removing these redundancy spaces for the effective transmission purpose and effective storage purpose. So the different purpose we have to compress the data. So next we go for so this is the representation of a email to reduce the redundancy. What is the need of to transmitting the data, and we have to storing the data, we have to transmitting data. Purpose we have to go for the image compression. So here the storage is nothing but it is the physical media that massive search in the multi-dimensional data requires for the compression for efficient long-term archivals. So nothing but we have to transmitting the data with in terms of unaligned data. So nothing but the informations are with the relevant or irrelevant to the additive contents will be transmitted to the channel. But so we have to able to store in a proper manner. So next we have to do to reduce the compression or reduce the storage data with respect to the bandwidth requirement. So nothing but the transmission capacity is strictly limited, and particularly in resources constrained or wireless environment, the compression critically decreases the transmission time and network load. So nowadays we have the 5G to 6G transmission bandwidth. So in earlier days, if 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, it have the limited bandwidth. We have to transmitting data with the particular bandwidth range. So for that we have whatever we have the input we have to convert it into the bandwidth limit. So then only the bottleneck problem will be not occur. Otherwise it have some bottleneck problem to it also create the transmission delay. So for that purpose we have to give the image compression or data compression in the during the transmission periods. So this is one of the identifying the redundant bits in the signal transmission. So this is the one of the animated example for the data which will be transmitted. So nothing but the layer 1 is represented as a coding redundancy, the layer 2 is a interpixel redundancy, third one is a psychovisual redundancy. So this is the transmission of data when we going for the image compression. So this is the combination of data which we have to transmit it. So in that one, the transmitting channel, we have the two types of redundancy. So one is a encoding techniques. First one is a source encoder, another one is a channel encoder. So in source encoder, we have to identify the redundancy, which is nothing but the repetitive content of nothing but repetitive coding contents. So the repetitive binary stream of data, whatever it is, the repetitive values are removed. It is considered as a additional bit. We have to remove the extra or irrelevant data in the image or the data. So next, the data will be transmitted to the interpixel redundancy. So here we have to identify the spatial and the temporal correlations. So after that, here we have to know about the aligned data which will be transmitted. So this is the mixed term of unaligned segmentation of data. In layer, the output of the coding redundancy, we have to identify and remove the repetitive contents in the information. After that, we have to transmitting to the interpixel redundancy. We have to identify the correlation of the adjacent pixel values or adjacent data transmitting values. So we have to align it with, we have to remove the irrelevant visual information. So for an example, we in the huge image, the information which will be transmitted through the channel, and also the psycho visual reduction is nothing but which are the information will be understand or identified by the human brain or human eye. So that only we have kept as a source information. The other than that, we have to be able to compress the data. So this is the transmission technique we have to use to transfer the image compression. So for nothing but first we have to given to the coding redundancy. Second, layer 2 we have given to the interpixel redundancy. After that, in layer 3 we have to psycho-visual redundancy. In layer 1, here we find the inefficient bit alignment. Second one is we find the correlation between the spatial and temporal correlation data. Finally, we have to remove the irrelevant visual information. So this is the basic things we have to identify and remove through the redundancy concept. So after that, we have to represent the standard representation assigned in a equal bit length to the all the gray levels. So here we have to represent the equal bit representation. If the data will be either 8 bit, 16 bit or 24 or 32 bit, we have to constrain it with the equal bit transmission. This is aligned with your bandwidth channel length of the transmission medium. So we have to highly probable with the pixel values, longer codes only to rare values, minimizing the average code length. So this is the inefficient representation. So nothing but we have to transmitting here with the different color variation. So here the three type the color images is represented as for the identification purpose of different data will be transmitted. So but here we have to correlate with the two variations, either between the two variations. So we have to optimize it in the data. So this is the to find the high correlated information in two-dimensional signal. So here we represent the different color variation, nothing but 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 cross 4 matrix. We have the 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we have the number of rows are 4, number of columns are 5, number of rows are 5. So here we have to represent the pixel value considered as A. So here the gray level is considered as A, means the repetitive content is 1, 2, 3. So we have to transmitted the 3 gray level other than that A3 or A4. So we have to reduce the channel bandwidth, and also we have to find the temporal correlation between the videos. It is nothing but the consecutive frames over the time constraints largely unchanged static background. So nothing but the static or ideal video will be recorded with transmitted means it will be identified as a temporal correlation. So this is the representation. In spatial domain, we have identified the identical pixel values with respect to the intensity. In temporal correlation, we have to find the unchanged background or frames with related to the whichever the consecutive time duration. So these are considered as a spatial correlation and temporal correlation. So next we have to represent the cytovisual redundancy. So nothing but it consists of a data is mathematically present but imperceptible to the human vision. So in the human vision system has to limit the perceiving minor variation of color or high frequency details. So we not able to view the large variation of colors or minute changes in the colors or other than the high frequency component. So our human eye is limited to some constraints. So up to that we have to consider as a cytovisual redundancy. The data extends to the images intended can be safely and permanently discarded without impacting perceived quality. So nothing but depending upon the human perception of the data, it will be either compressed or either removed through the cytovisual redundancy removal. So these are have the some mathematically present the visual perception safe to discard. So nothing but here the value which will be, so these are the higher frequency component which will be represented in the signal transmission. If it not able to identify in the human eye perception. So we have to remove these type of components in the signal with respect to mathematically present in the visual imperceptible safe to change.